Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So Games Workshop's 2021 financial report has just hit the internet and there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Of course they are in a massive profit. If I remember correctly, I think it's 150 million British pounds they are up after pre-tax profits, so it's massive. But on this video I want to focus on some of the other stuff that they mentioned in here, namely video games, because there is a big investment now into video games, which excites me for someone who plays video games. And also the animation side, because this has been a talking point over the past couple of weeks with GW and everything that's been going on with Warhammer Plus, and it seems to be that the Warhammer Plus is going to be the next big step for Games Workshop, not just with animations, but with their general going forward with offering content. So before we jump in, if you want to go and read this financial report for yourself, then I include the link in the description of this video. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Again, I'm just focusing on the video game stuff and the Warhammer Plus stuff. Now in this video game section, they go into detail about how many games they released this financial year. They mentioned 9 new games, 5 were for PC/console, and 4 were for mobile. Mobile is like Lost Crusade and stuff like that. And they go into a bit more detail about like most of their revenue is with established titles, and they mention some of the upcoming titles like Total War 3, Total War Battles Warhammer, which I have no idea what that is, and of course Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, which I think they're trying to make like this is going to be a big success for them. But the next section is what really interests me, because it states there are currently 15 video games in development across all platforms, ranging from AAA PC/console titles to mobile projects, which will be released over the next few years. It goes on to say, further out, more large-scale projects are in early stages as well. So of course, my ears have pricked up. 15 video games in development across all platforms. Yes, you can argue what defines a AAA game, and of course, mobile projects are a different entity all on their own. I'm not going to get into that in this video because I really dislike those games. Now, one of the problems is with Warhammer video games, in my personal problem, I would say, is that we have a lot of Warhammer video games, but we don't have a lot of quality Warhammer video games. Like, I can only pick a few off the top of my head which really stand out when it comes to the Warhammer franchise and having quality games. Like Space Marine, the original Dawn of War games, those were absolutely fantastic games. Sadly, they don't really have support anymore. If someone was to come along and give those games a new breath of life, I think the community would jump on that and they would ride it all the way to the Emperor's throne, because that's what people are absolutely begging for. We've all talked about this so many times, like what 40k, what Warhammer needs in terms of video games. Like I've always said, like, you know, a hive sitter and you go around as an inquisitor, like RPGs, maybe like a Death Watch type of game, like inspired by Space Marine, where you can pick different chapters, go in and fight stuff. There's so many ideas out there. There's so many awesome concepts that we've all talked about before. Now, the next bit states more large-scale projects are in early stages as well. Now, I want you to lend me your ears for a second now, because I've heard a few rumors, and again, these are not 100%, they're not even probably 50%, they may just be complete bollocks, but I've heard them from a couple of people now which have told me things in the past that have come true. And apparently, one of the things that is going to be in production, or is maybe already in production because there's some evidence that supports this, is that Creative Assembly has signed a contract with Games Workshop to bring a sci-fi game out. Now, when I say sci-fi game, it's either going to be 40k or Horus Heresy. In terms of what type of game it is, literally have no idea. It's going to be an RTS, it's going to be a first-person shooter, third-person shooter, no idea. You would think Creative Assembly, you would think it would be an RTS game. That's where your mind instantly jumps to. Now, some of the evidence that supports this is that the chap who used to write all the lore for the Horus Heresy for Forge World actually left Forge World and started working for Creative Assembly. It may be a complete coincidence that he's actually doing that, but for me, my brain is going into like, why would he leave a Horus Heresy game to go and work with Creative Assembly? Maybe, just maybe, that they're actually making Total War Horus Heresy. I think that would be an absolutely massive project, and that would get a lot of people turning their heads to 40k, well, I say 40k video games, Warhammer video games. And adding to that, when it does mention stuff like more large-scale projects and in early stages as well, my mind goes to like daft places. Like, I'm an old-fashioned person. I love MMOs, and I would literally love 40k to get an MMO. I know like how the mechanics would work. I'm sure people argue that, oh, the MMO days are dead, Valrak. You know, they're gone now. They're buried. Look at World of Warcraft. Look at other, you know, MMOs and stuff. They don't work in this type of age anymore. Yeah, you know, you're probably right. But for me, I would love that a game like that to jump on, to have that social experience, to go and raid, to go in PvP, just to group up with people and just purge in the Emperor's name. I would literally love a game like that. And swiftly moving on to the entertainment side, aka Warhammer Plus. So firstly, they mentioned the reveal show. Do you remember that reveal show that they've shown off all the animations that are coming, and we all laugh, for those of you who watch my watch along, because it was just like audio stuff and they didn't really show anything. Apparently, that was their most viewed live stream they ever had, so they made a mention of that in this video. There's a section here which really interests me because it states, a number of projects are in development with various partners around the world, using well-known established writers across the entertainment spectrum, from Hollywood to the Japanese animation industry. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of Japanese animation industry, the first thing that pops in my mind is anime. And I know a lot of people have actually mentioned they would love to see a Warhammer 40,000 anime. I don't really watch anime. I'll hold my hands up. You can argue that Pokemon is an anime. I used to watch that when I was a kid. As a Charizard, I was the badass in my school. But yeah, I don't really watch anime. Like, I watch animations. I don't go out my way to like, oh my god, this is an anime, I'll go and watch it. If it looks good, I'll watch it. I don't care if it's an anime or not. But they do mention Japanese animation industry here, and I think that is in reference to that they actually want to go to that side of the world and start selling their brand more. Again, I'm not going to go into it in this video, but they do mention that they're increasing sales in Japan, and they've been given the green light to sell more stuff in China, and apparently they're going to be opening like a Warhammer a cafe in like Shanghai and stuff like that, hopefully within like the next year, they're saying. So you can probably see why they're going for these types of animations, so it appeals to the audience on that side of the world. And that's really like the things that stood out for me. Again, there's a lot more in here if you want to go and read it for yourself. The link is in the description for the full financial report. If you like to read through all this, look at all the profits, look at all the other heads and stuff. This is just the stuff that stood out for me as the stuff that, of course, I'm interested in when it comes to like Warhammer Animations and, of course, the video games. I really, really want Games Workshop to really invest into video games and try to stay away from these studios that just put out bad games. Like, they just put out bad products, and all it does is hurt us as the player. And I would argue it hurts the brand as well, because when you put out these cheap titles for people who just want to make a quick buck, then it's just crap. It really, really is just crap. Anyway, enough waffling from me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, post it down below, and we can have a little talk down there as we always do. See you now. Have a great day, and bye-bye.